Right friends, welcome back to English Comprehension and Vocabulary. This is the 5th session and we are going to deliberate on the Economic Times editorial of 11th January, not RBI's job to oppose government, and on Monday we are going to deliberate on Economic Times editorial of 12th January. This is too dependent on tax revenues from oil. So, today's topic is not RBI's job to oppose government, and on Monday we are going to deliberate on too dependent on tax revenues from oil. This is the editorial of the Economic Times of 12th January. Today's article is 11th January Economic Times editorial, and here please look at it. The essence of the article is policy is government's domain, execution is RBI's domain. The meaning of this article or the essence of this article is some people commented that RBI could have resisted the move of the central government of demonetization. The essence of the article is RBI cannot resist the duly elected government's mandate to take decisions, but what RBI is to do is proper execution is to be done, proper shift over from old notes to new notes, that is the domain of RBI, but it is not the domain of RBI to resist demonetization altogether. So, this is the essence. Let us look at sentence by sentence. Many people have tended to read into Reserve Bank of India's statement. Reserve Bank of India gave a statement that demonetization of rupees 500 and rupees 1000 notes had been suggested to it by the government of India. So, government of India suggested demonetization to Reserve Bank of India, and subsequently Reserve Bank of India took the decision, though the Prime Minister announced during the night of 8th November, but based on the advice of central government, RBI took the decision because this stripping currency of legal status is as per some article, or you can say as per some section of Reserve Bank of India Act. And here some experts commented Reserve Bank of India could have resisted the move, but as per this article, first sentence, many people have tended to read into the Reserve Bank of India statement that demonetization of rupees 500 and rupees 1000 notes had been suggested by the government of India, implications that probably are not warranted. So, the implications when government of India suggested to Reserve Bank of India, then some people thought that Reserve Bank of India could have resisted it, and that implications are probably not warranted. So, implications meaning, all of you are familiar with implications. Implications means, one example is this demonetization. Demonetization has got its implications in the months to come on the economy. The meaning of implications is the effect that an action or decision will have on something else in the future. The action of this the action of this demonetization by the government of India will have implications on economy in the near future. So, implication means the effect because of some action in future. Then warranted, not warranted. This you frequently come across in articles. Warranted means to make a particular activity necessary, that is the warranted. And a small boy of class 3, let us take small example, a small boy of class 3 has not done the homework, and if the next day teacher scolds, and if teacher reprimands the student, and if teacher mildly tells the student please do it tomorrow, please do like that, then the action by the teacher is warranted. The action by the teacher is warranted. But if the teacher badly scolds the boy, and if the teacher beats the boy like anything for not doing homework for simple reason, for not doing homework for class 3 boy, if a teacher badly beats the boy, if teacher gives bad punishment to the boy, make the student to stand in the sun outside the school, those actions are not warranted. So, those actions are not necessary for that particular situation. So, this is the important meaning. Several times we come across this warranted, not warranted. So, when particular action is sufficient which demands for that particular situation, that is warranted. If it does not demand for that particular occasion, that is not warranted, right. So, here implications I explained you, and please understand the sentence meaning. Many people have tended to read into the Reserve Bank of India's statement that demonetization of such and such notes had been suggested to it by the Government of India, implications that probably are not warranted. So, some people are reading into it in different perspective. Reserve Bank of India could have resisted, and if you implications, that means if the argument is in such fashion, the implications that probably are not warranted, right. So, warranted, not warranted, I have told you. So, the thought process is like that, it is not warranted. RBI cannot be supreme, government is always supreme. So, that is the meaning of this sentence. So, the thought process or the viewpoint of experts is not warranted, right. Just like the example what I have told you with this school teacher. Look into the next one. The central bank has lost its autonomy and credibility affected. That means people are feeling that Reserve Bank of India could have resisted the move, and at the same time people are telling, experts are telling, including former RBI Governor Venugopal Reddy says that the central bank has lost its autonomy and credibility. What is autonomy? What is credibility? These words you often come across. Autonomy means independence, right to an organization to be independent and govern itself. Right to an organization, election commission, it is having its own autonomy. Then Union Public Service Commission has got autonomy. Reserve Bank of India has got autonomy. Autonomy means right of an organization to be independent and govern itself, right. So, government's interference should not be there in its working, right. So, the present case is different. This demonetization is basically by the government of India, by the sovereign government. The decision was taken by the sovereign government. RBI has not cannot say anything, but as far as working of RBI is concerned, Reserve Bank of India cannot interfere, right. So, this is autonomy. Credibility, I will tell you one example. Y has borrowed rupees 2000 from X. Y, that is debtor, whoever borrows money, he will become debtor and X is creditor. Y borrowed rupees 2000 from X, stating that I will return you back within 2 days. I will return you back within 2 days, but 2 months passed, he has not returned it back, then that is credibility. Credibility is lost. The trust on that person Y is lost. The belief on that person Y is lost. Why the trust is lost? Why the belief is lost? Because he told me that, he told X that he will return within 2 days, but in spite of 2 months, he has not returned. So, the trust is lost, belief is lost, what you call credibility is lost, right. So, credibility is trust or belief on person or organization, that is very, very important. If credibility is lost, everything is lost. People do not believe you, people do not trust you, that is the basic problem if credibility is lost. So, some people are talking about RBI has lost its autonomy and credibility affected, say some, including former RBI Governor Venugopal Reddy. And let us read further. Then the next point is, if the assumption is that the central bank should have resisted the move, why they are making such statements? RBI's autonomy is lost, credibility is lost, they are making such statements, including former RBI governor, with some assumption, If the assumption is, the newspaper is writing, if the assumption is that the central bank should have resisted the move to demonetize high denomination notes, that assumption is misplaced. Here two important words, assumption, misplaced. What is the meaning of assumption? Please look into this. Assumption means something you accept as true without proof. Look at the budget. Union Finance Minister presented the budget based on the assumption that oil prices will be stable. He cannot forecast what is going to happen after 5 months, 6 months, but the assumption while framing the budget is that oil prices will be stable. So, assumption is nothing but based on something, and we accept it as truth or true, we accept it as true without proof. It may go wrong also. So, that is the meaning of assumption. So, classic example is Union Finance Minister presented the budget based on the assumption that oil prices will be stable. Tomorrow it may go wrong, and this is the meaning of assumption. And the next word is misplaced, and this is basically without good judgment. If you are making some statement that is misplaced, you can call misplaced. And here let us look at a person. He is 22-year-old and he never read anything. He is very poor in mathematics. He is very poor in English. He is too poor in social studies, and he passed various examinations after 3-4 attempts, and his father says that my son will become an IAS officer. So, here the father's contention, or you can say the father's judgment, or you can say the father's statement is misplaced. He is coming to that judgment without weighing the facts. That means without good judgment. When you are commenting something, then it is called misplaced, right? Are you clear about this? Misplaced means without good judgment. If you are making some statement, then you can say the statement is misplaced. The student is too poor, but father says my son will become an IAS officer. So, that statement is misplaced. It is not based on good judgment, right? So, here let us come back to the sentence. Here, if the assumption is that the central bank should have resisted the move to demonetize high denomination notes, that assumption is misplaced. So, that assumption is without judgment, without proper judgment, without analyzing the sovereignty of the country, without analyzing the democracy of the country, without analyzing our constitutional provisions where parliament is supreme, elected government is supreme, right? If somebody is making comment that central bank could have resisted the move, that assumption is misplaced without proper judgment, right? Let us move on. Next statement is the Reserve Bank of India or any other central bank, as a matter of fact, any other central bank had the duty to carry out the will of the sovereign as articulated by the duly elected government of the day. Its job is to carry out that mandate well. Here it is clearly mentioned. Any central bank, the duty is, it had to carry out the will of the sovereign. What is the meaning of sovereign? Sovereign means the government which exercises supreme authority. Our country is a sovereign country because government is supreme, nobody can influence that. So, sovereign country means the government which exercises supreme authority, right. So, here RBI has to carry out the will of the sovereign as articulated by the duly elected government of the day. Who is the head of the government? The Prime Minister is the head of the government. So, duly articulated, that means clearly laid out in clear terms, duly articulated by the duly elected government of the day. As per the law of the land he was elected. Its job, RBI's job is to carry out that mandate well. Whatever mandate given by the center to RBI, the role of the RBI is to carry out that well, not to question central government why you have taken demonetization decision. RBI's role is only to carry out this process of demonetization smoothly. We gave mandate to Narendra Modi government. Narendra Modi government gave some mandate to RBI for implementation of demonetization. So, mandate. So, let us look at these three words. The three words are duly. Duly means as per the law of the land, in the correct way. Narendra Modi was elected in correct way in the elections held by Election Commission as per the law of the land. So, duly elected government, several times we use this word, duly elected government means as per the law of the land and in the correct way this government was elected. And the mandate means authority given to the government to govern the country. The mandate, who gave the mandate? We gave the mandate to Narendra Modi, and similarly he gave mandate to RBI to implement demonetization. So, here sovereign country, you cannot question that because this mandate is given by the people and this is clearly articulated by the Prime Minister, expressed clearly in effective language. This articulation, what is the meaning of articulation? Articulation means expression clearly in lucid, effective language without ambiguity. So, Narendra Modi's decision is without ambiguity. So, RBI has to follow this. RBI has to follow the mandate, right. So, here let us come back. Here the sentence is, Reserve Bank of India or any other central bank has the duty to carry out the will of sovereign as articulated by the duly elected government of the day. Its job is to carry out that mandate well. Here we gave the mandate to Narendra Modi government and Narendra Modi gave mandate to RBI for implementation of demonetization and planning and implementing its execution in an optimal fashion. This is important. What is the role of RBI? RBI has to implement it in optimal fashion. So, let us look at what is the meaning of optimal, most efficient way. Here demonetization, government said, let us demonetize these notes, let us bring these notes. So, that is to be done in a most optimal way. That means most favorable, most desirable, extremely good way. Several times we use these words: optimal, optimum, optimum, optimal. Here optimal means most favorable, desirable, extremely good way. Similarly, optimum. Let us look at one example. Government should make optimum use of scarce resources. The resources are scarce. They are not sufficient for all of us. So, when the resources are scarce, they are not abundant. They are scarce. So, the government should make optimum use of scarce resources. Optimum means most efficient use. Similarly, RBI could have ensured demonetization in most effective way. There are other aspects, I am not going into them because whether RBI has got a sufficient time for ensuring it in the most optimum way, I am not going into those aspects. I am just looking at what is given in the editorial of Economic Times. And look at the next paragraph. In the democratic system of government, the people are sovereign. People are sovereign, I have already explained you. And Parliament, the representative forum, parliamentary majority throws up the political leadership of the executive. Executive is the Prime Minister, head is the Prime Minister. So, parliamentary majority, BJP has got more than 280 Lok Sabha members out of around 540. So, more than 50% the mandate is given by the people to rule the country. So, here political leadership is executive. As a political leadership that enjoys the confidence of the elected people's representative forum, it has the authority. RBI has got the authority of the people, here it enjoys the confidence of the elected people's representative forum. It has the authority of the people. That means, here as a political leadership that enjoys the confidence of the elected people's representative forum, that is executive, has got the authority to take decisions in their welfare and on their behalf. here we gave majority in parliament and parliament elected Narendra Modi. What it signifies? Narendra Modi has got the authority to take decisions on behalf of people, right. This is on behalf of. So, on people's behalf he is entitled to take decisions. The next one is, if the political leadership makes mistakes, political leadership, that means the prime minister can make mistakes, and if the political leadership makes mistakes in their choice of action and policy, the people will punish them. Every 5 years elections are there. The government's accountability is to the people. Government's accountability is to the people. Please look into this, accountability. That means a situation in which someone is responsible for things that happen, whether it is good or bad. For demonetization, prime minister is responsible. If people feel that demonetization is good, he will be re-elected. If people feel that demonetization is bad, then he has to answer to the people and people may defeat him also. So, he is this is important aspect is accountability, right. So, he is acting on behalf of people and he is accountable for his actions, right. So, he is accountable to the people for his actions. If the government of the day thinks certain currencies have to be demonetized, if government feels rupees 500, rupees 1000 to go away, it is not for an institution. What is institution here? Reserve Bank of India. It is not for an institution with a narrowly defined mandate. Its mandate, we have not given the mandate to RBI. RBI came up because of some act and final ultimate mandate lies with the elected government. Whatever government says, RBI has to follow. So, here RBI cannot thwart, right. It is not for an institution with a narrowly defined mandate. Here RBI with narrowly defined mandate cannot thwart that policy choice, cannot thwart. This word is also frequently we come across. So, thwart means something from happening. So, to stop something from happening is a thwart. So, it cannot stop something from happening. That means, here the meaning is it cannot stop demonetization. Thwarting means stopping something from happening. So, here the sentences are very clear. Ultimate supremacy lies with the prime minister and RBI cannot stop this demonetization. This word is very important, thwart, to stop something from happening, right. This does not mean that the government can take decisions that violate the laws of the land. The courts would step in. If government takes a decision which violates the laws of the land, then courts are there to intervene. If government violates the constitutional provisions, then court will come into picture, Supreme Court will intervene. So, it is up to the courts to decide. If some act is violated, then courts will intervene. RBI cannot question that. The essence of this is RBI cannot question demonetization, right. This does not mean that the government can take decisions that violate the laws of the land. The courts would step in if laws are violated. If laws are violated, courts will step in, right. The next paragraph, let us look at the last paragraph, that is the next one is, that being the case, that means we cannot question the government's action. That being the case, government can take decision of demonetization. The questions to be asked are different. When you look at RBI, the questions to be asked are different. Did the central bank advise the government as to how to go about demonetizing two widely used notes in the least disruptive fashion? Here, central bank cannot stop demonetization, but central bank can advise the government how to go about demonetizing two widely used notes in the least disruptive fashion. it should not disrupt the economy and common man should not suffer. So, RBI can give advice to the government, right. Here disruptive, frequently we use it because of fog. Air services are disrupted, at the same time because of fog. Train services are disrupted, that means stopping something from continuing as usual is a disruption. So, here what this trying to convey is whether it advised government or not to do the move in least disruptive fashion. At the same time, did RBI devise a plan of action that was optimal? I have already told you the meaning of optimal. Optimal means most efficient way. Did RBI devise a plan of action that was optimal? Did it manage execution of the plan efficiently and coherently? Efficiently, all of you know the meaning of efficiency. Efficiently means operating quickly and effectively in most organized way. Delhi Metro, you can take one example of efficient organization. Then coherent. Coherent means well planned and one after the other it has to move in sequential way, right. Here plan is carefully considered and everything follows in a reasonable way. Demonetization means it was not planned in coherent manner. That means before taking 500 rupee and 1000 rupee notes out, Reserve Bank has to have at least a certain percentage of new notes, that too in small denominations. That was the biggest mistake of Reserve Bank of India. So, Reserve Bank of India could not plan in efficient and coherent manner. This coherent word is very important. Some sequence, if some action is to be done, what are the follow up actions? Follow up actions are not synchronized properly, then things will go into problems. So, coherent action was not there. So, efficiently and coherently, whether it planned or not, that these are the questions are to be asked. All these questions can be answered only in the negative. RBI has not planned. RBI was not ready with coherent plan. RBI's plan was not optimal. So, it is inevitable. What is meant by inevitable? Inevitable means that is certain to happen. I have taken ring of fire. Ring of fire means this is the area where several earthquakes take place. So, that is ring of fire. When a country is situated in ring of fire, some country if it is situated in ring of fire, earthquakes are inevitable, you cannot stop. So, inevitable means something that is certain to happen. So, here Reserve Bank of India, whatever the questions we have posed, all these questions can be answered only in the negative, because Reserve Bank of India is not ready for effective implementation. So, it is inevitable that the Reserve Bank of India will face some flack. So, it is inevitable, that means it will happen. Reserve Bank of India will face strong criticism or opposition. Flack means strong criticism or opposition, but because it has not done in coherent way and it has not done in efficient way. This paragraph is, so it is inevitable that the Reserve Bank of India will face some flack. Definitely it will face some opposition and it will face some strong criticism, because it was not done in efficient, coherent manner, but it was not its job to have resisted demonetization. Demonetization decision is by the government, it was not its job to have resisted demonetization. So, it was not its job to have resisted demonetization, right. So, with this, let us conclude this, not RBI's job to oppose government, and happy Makar Sankranti to one and all, and happy Pongal and happy Magha Bihu, and at the same time please enjoy 2 holidays, Saturday and Sunday. We will meet once again on Monday at 12 noon. I hope that you are all enjoying these comprehension passages. The main intention is to improve your word power, to improve your understanding ability of English. If you follow 3 to 6 months, probably you will be in a position to understand any passage or any article. With that intention we started this, and wish you happy holidays once again tomorrow and day after. Please do enjoy, and with this let us conclude today's comprehension passage discussion. Have a nice day. Thank you.